Yes, sir.
For showing work, does the formula count as work?
You can create a formula.
I'd like to see what you're calculating. I think I want to see the numbers in there.
Yeah, like a formula and then with the numbers plugged in.
Yeah.
They just made a new formula, so it's doing a text
All right, we good with this?
So we call the Nathan formula.
All right, now we're not done with this titration. We've just gotten to the equivalence point. Now we have to go past the equivalence point. So we'll have 2 more data points if we could do that. You got 2 more data points in you?
Yep.
Okay, so we still had 40 ml. That part up above hasn't changed. Now we've added 50 milliliters of NaOH. This is past the equivalence point. Let's do the math. 0.004 moles of HCl, 0.005 moles of hydroxide. And initially there was 0 of that conjugate base. Now in this case, the limiting reagent is going to be the acid. That goes to 0. And we have an excess now of hydroxide. That's 0.001 moles. And the OH, I'm sorry, not the OH, the OCl goes up to 0.004 moles as well. What's the pH? Okay, now let's see. We have 2 things that haven't run out in this solution. This acid is all gone. We have this hydroxide, and then we have this weak base. Now, I didn't say anything about the hydroxide, I just called it hydroxide. But what is hydroxide? It's a base. Which is a better base, hydroxide or OCl? Yes, it's a better base by far. This is like the ultimate base. We're talking about a base taking hydrogen ions. There's nobody better than hydroxide. So this is going to be weird and troubling for some of you. But you see that there is actually more OCl than OH, right? There's more of that. However, I'm going to contend this. Remember what... I don't want to say that. Because pH is determined really by the hydrogen ion concentration, and we don't have any hydrogen ion concentration here. The fact that OH is a strong base, even though there's less of it than the OCl, the OH is totally going to dominate the pH. So much so that we don't even need to care about how much OH is given off by this. I'll say that again. Free hydroxide ions are so strong, they will produce way more hydroxide ions than what this weak base will. So the pH is totally dominated by this. And I'm going to write that down on here. This thing right here dominates the pH. So that actually makes our work much more simple, because we need to find the pH. If we just find it from the hydroxide concentration, that's easy. Finding it from this, we'd have to set up an equilibrium equation, use the Kb for it. But that gives off this. Remember, this is a weak base. It gives off a little bit of hydroxide. This amount of hydroxide is just pure, good, rich hydroxide. So that's what is going to allow us to find the pH. So the concentration of hydroxide we'll have to find, because all we know right now is the number of moles of hydroxide. So the concentration of it is 0.001 divided by the total volume, which is 90 ml. I don't really care what the hydroxide concentration is. Would you find that concentration, then determine the pOH, and from that find the pH? Huh? Oh, I heard a 13.01 and then a 12. I need a third to break the tie. What is it? 12.05. 12.05. pH equals 12.05. No, the pOH would have been like 1.95, and then the pH is 14 minus that. Yeah. So Let's go ahead and write ourselves a little note over on the side of the paper. Past equivalence point. The pH is dominated by excess base. I know that OCl is a base too, and even if there's more OCl, I don't care. It doesn't give that much hydroxide. There's way more hydroxide here than the amount that this will give off. Way more. So we can just ignore that OCl altogether, making our work simpler. Yeah.
Are there like weak acid, weak base titration?
No, there's no weak titration. No. The next thing that we do, starting tomorrow, we'll do a weak base titration and a strong acid. And that'll go a lot faster. We'll have the whole drill down by that time. How are we doing for time? I told you we are going to do 2 more data points, but I'll just quit there. The next one would just be a little bit higher than 12.05.
Interruption for a quick announcement. Troy United varsity hockey team will host Farmington United Saturday night